You can be visible all you want, but if you don't have a strategy in how you're being visible and why you're being visible to who on which platforms and what you're sharing, visibility isn't always going to lead to any results.
Welcome to Women's Thrive Podcast. This is where you'll get to hear incredible stories of female entrepreneurs, business owners, women from all walks of life. Myself, Raimonda Jan, and my co-host Abigail will be interviewing incredible women, hearing inspiring stories of women from all around the world. I have no doubt that you will find something that will be life-changing for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for our future episodes.
Hello, ladies, and welcome to Women Thrive Podcast. I'm excited to have you all here for today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking what is missing in your business strategy. Now, you're in for a treat because today is a solo episode with your host, Raimonda Jan, and I am so excited to bring on new series of just myself on this podcast, giving you some real talk about business strategy, visibility, and really what it takes to be successful. I get so many personal emails and messages, and so many people say, Ray, you have so much wisdom, and we just love when you share some more insights with us. So just to close out season 4 of the Women Thrive podcast series, I decided to do a series of episodes where I will be addressing some of the most important questions that all of you have been asking me over the last few months or few years. So if you have any questions for me and you'd like to see some topics covered in the next few episodes of speaking about business and visibility, do make sure you leave a comment and let us know what episodes you would like to see on this podcast. Now let's dive in. I love talking about business strategy and I love talking about visibility. And I think we as women sometimes shy away from strategy, thinking, well, if I just serve my clients and show up and just be visible, I will attract my clients. But the truth is, business is becoming more and more difficult, and the landscape is changing in the way we market ourselves and the way people are buying and the way people are just perceiving what is more valuable to them and making decisions to work with a coach, a mentor, or to buy a particular product or service. So today I want to talk about strategy and why we as women shy away from it, and perhaps what do you need to do? So tell me in the comments if you're watching this or if you're listening to this podcast. I want to feel where you're at. What are the things that you have been doing and you feel like, well, that hasn't really worked? Or if you have been doing something and it has been really working, I'd love for you to share it with others. And I love to create a community and conversation around these topics. Now, I get a lot of questions, and perhaps women approach me and say, hey, I seem to be doing everything. And I don't know about you, but I can totally relate. Like showing up on social media, doing podcasts, creating offers, sending emails, joining programs. And yet somehow it just doesn't seem like it's moving the needle in your business. And so in this podcast, I want to talk to you about a few things that will help you to get clarity in your marketing, in your visibility, to make sure that all the things that you're doing is actually starting to result in more clients, in more leads and sales for your business. So I think the 3 key pillars I want to talk to you about is visibility, monetization, and clarity. Because for me, without visibility, you are unknown. You're someone who just the best kept secret in the industry. Now, without a monetization plan, you can be visible all you want. You won't be able to get clients. So we need to talk about what is your monetization strategy. And then let's talk about clarity, because I think we make offers and we be visible, but if your message isn't clear and it is not hitting the right keynotes with your potential clients, again, we are missing the point of the whole visibility part of your business. So can you relate, like being visible but still no results? And it's starting to really lead to burnout, and perhaps you're starting to lose hope and you're wondering, what does it take? I see so many posts on social media claiming, hey, I can help you make so and so six figures in few weeks, few days, whatever, or I've got these results. The truth is, getting results in your business, especially results such as getting to six figures or having a really successful, even five-figure weeks, does take some strategy. It's not just a chance that somebody got there. They sure enough were really clear about their offer. They already have built up some momentum with their audience, and they created something really desirable for their audience that resulted in sales. So let's talk about the strategy part. The problem isn't you showing up. I think the problem a lot of the times is some of the key ingredients that perhaps missing in your marketing. So marketing is not the same as it used to be a few years ago. And I have spent the last a decade and a half in marketing and working with businesses, working with social media and growing my own social media. And what I've noticed that the clearer the niche that you select, the clearer that your positioning is of who you are, what you do, and what you're able to offer to clients, the more you will be able to attract the right people to your door. Okay. So let's say you, perhaps like myself, let's say I work and support speakers and business owners in getting their messaging really clear. I help with strategy and also public speaking. So people come to me because they know I can help them with that visibility aspect of doing public speaking and doing marketing or getting really clear on their messaging, right? So a lot of people I see do, let's say, mindset work or healing work. But what does it mean? Mindset can mean so many different things. So you need to really narrow down, who do you want to work with? Do you have a particular niche or set of audience that you serve? Is it specific to moms who are struggling with a particular problem? Do you have a solution for, I don't know, starting out entrepreneurs who are looking to, let's say, work on their mindset blocks around money, very specific? So I want you to start to think about, if somebody was to refer you to an ideal client, who would that ideal client be? And what would they refer you for? And that's really the test for you to see, is my messaging clear enough? Can I communicate this to somebody else? But if your messaging isn't really clear, that's where the majority of the problem lies, that we're not communicating who we are and who do we serve. And I find people go around in circles for so long trying to find their niche and their industry and the sweet spot, mainly because what they do makes sense to them. It makes sense to them, but the message isn't very clear when it comes out. There is that communication aspect. And then also, the other problem is that we feel like we can't settle with just one area, one industry, one niche, right? We don't want to niche down or be so specific that we cut ourselves out of other things. And I say to women, look, you don't have to have just one niche, or you don't have to have just one ideal client. But I want you to go all in on one specific thing, that who do you serve and how you can help people. If you can have, let's say you have two or three offerings, you can do that. But I think what really needs to come clear is, what is that secret sauce that you have? What is that niche that you're looking to serve? And that will become much easier for you if you can settle down, if you can find that sweet spot. Your ease in communicating that message and for audience to understand you will become so much easier, and therefore resulting in more clients, more referrals, and more opportunities. So I would spend some time. Some of my clients and colleagues have said, Ray, you're so good at doing this. And you know why I'm so good? Because it's taken me years to find what is my own magic sauce. I remember when I first started, I looked for what lights me up, who would I want to work with. And it's taken me years to refine my offerings, refine who I am and what I stand for. And it's taken me years to refine who is my ideal client, who are the people that I want to work with. And in the back end, I've also put in a lot of work to learn all the techniques and strategies and approaches and how to narrow it down. And I think that's the part. We keep adding things to our businesses, right? We keep adding things, hoping to make it better, right? But too many chefs in the kitchen isn't going to make the pot better. So, or too many ingredients in a recipe isn't necessarily going to make the recipe better. It's the right blend of ingredients that's going to make it better. So the challenge is, what do we throw away? It's not what do we add to the pot, but what do we actually need to get rid of and start to crystallize the message. Short and sweet always wins the game. Okay. If that's a challenge that you have been having, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message or an email at Raimonda@womenthrivemedia.com and let me know. Are you struggling to find your niche? Or how you feel if you crystallize your message? I'm sure it has really eased your pain in terms of marketing and getting your message clear for the audience. Okay, let's talk about the visibility. Part 2, visibility. Now, a lot of us just go out there and be visible. We've been told you need to be on all the platforms at all times, sharing your message. And the truth is, that leads you to a burnout. You can be visible all you want, but if you don't have a strategy in how you're being visible and why you're being visible, to who, on which platforms, and what you're sharing, visibility isn't always going to lead to any results. And I find sometimes women say, oh, I never really thought about having a strategy. Strategy is imagine if you're building a house and you just start building. And one day you feel, okay, I'm just going to put this there, and I'm going to put window there, I'm going to put a door in there. Oh, this would be great for a bathroom. Oh, this would be great for a living room. And then at the end, you just have this whole disjointed house that doesn't make any sense. There's a reason why when people start to build houses, they lay the foundation. But before they start to lay the foundation, they talk about, let's have a plan, right? Let's have an architect to do the drawing. So same thing for your business. You can't just roll up your sleeves and start laying bricks. And that's same with visibility. People just roll up their sleeves. Okay, I've got this amazing tool in front of me that is social media that can reach billions of people all around the world. But let me just roll up my sleeves and just get out there, right? Without thinking, what is my message? Who am I communicating it to? What do I need to communicate to my audience in order for them to feel like they are going on a journey with me, like they're getting to know who I am and they actually getting some value from seeing me on social media? If you don't have a strategy, you're just adding to the noise in the online space, which isn't going to help you bring in clients. So I think starting out with that architecture plan of how visibility is going to lead to more results in your business. Where do you need to be visible? Because, hey, you might be putting all your eggs into one basket showing up on Instagram. But the truth is, you may be working with a client base who isn't using Instagram for making those buying decisions. Or you're going all in on TikTok and really people aren't making those decisions to work with a particular type of coach or mentor or finding, let's say, business strategist on TikTok. I don't know. I can't tell you that. I don't personally go on TikTok to find a business strategist. I'd be looking elsewhere. But that's the point, that you might be putting all your eggs in one basket or being visible in one platform and your audience aren't there. Or you're spreading yourself too thin, being visible on all platforms, yet not building that intimacy with your audience on any platform at all. because you're spreading yourself too thin and your message becomes more diluted and people just don't feel that connection to you because you're not putting in enough energy into that one platform. So visibility isn't just about posting everywhere, posting more. It really is about showing up where it is meaningful, where it really matters, and showing up with confidence, authority, and consistency. So being consistent in your messaging and who you are and what your message is. So I would recommend having a strategy ahead of time and thinking, how are my visibility efforts going to lead to the bigger picture, right? Where am I taking my audience to? How am I going to attract them to what I am offering? Now, I guess the last piece, which is the part where we get to monetize our offers. A lot of times people, again, are very visible. They're on all the platforms. Their messaging might be clear, but the part they are not thinking about is, how am I going to convert my audience? I'll share a little story with you that makes me laugh today. But at that time, it wasn't funny at all. I was reaching a point in my business where I didn't see consistent revenue. And if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, I'm sure you can relate to the consistency in clients, revenue, conversions. It's tough. It's not always easy. And I kind of got fed up with myself. I got fed up with being in that position. And I said, okay, Ray, sit down, draw up a plan. But before you do that, let's do an audit. So I sat down and I'd done an audit of my own business. And I went through our website, social media. I started to look for clues of where am I going wrong. And truth be told, most of the things that I was offering and promoting weren't even available on my website. The links weren't even available through my social media links. I would promote it on social media and I would post about it, but there were no links. So if anybody wanted to sign up or buy a product or inquire to work with me, truthfully, they couldn't until they reached out to me, which is not really sustainable. People always looking for solutions. They're always looking for things to invest in. They're looking for basically answers to their questions and their pains. And I thought, well, I'm so good at marketing. Yeah, you can be the best at marketing and you can be visible all day long and you can be doing podcasts and writing blogs. But unless your links are available on your website and you're constantly not only just being visible, but having the opportunities for people to convert or even to find out more about it or have a discovery call, then it isn't going to work. You don't need to have it all figured out, but I think just doing an audit. So that year when I've done the audit and I just became really intentional about what am I selling? So I made an audit of how many products and services am I selling? And I started a spreadsheet. And I started to track results where I'm making the most conversions. Of course, the most conversions came from a place where I was putting the most effort in. But then I found some really surprising facts where some of the revenue was coming from. And what I realized at that particular time, which isn't necessarily common today, that I was making more money from a low ticket workshop, which was a promotional workshop, which was around $29. And I had a great conversion on that workshop. I was actually making more money with that workshop than actual product that I was selling, which was still relatively low ticket, I think $300 to $500 ticket. So less people were converting. So when I started to really look at the numbers and the stats, it started to make sense of where the revenue was coming from and why I wasn't consistent in some areas. And it became a reminder of what am I selling? How often am I promoting it? How often am I showing up? How often am I doing a launch? And if I'm being visible, do I often mention those products? Do I talk about it? Do I lead people to it? Do I have discovery calls? How often do I have discovery calls? And how often do I create opportunities for people to convert to that product? Sometimes people cry, hey, nobody bought that. How many times did you promote it? Oh, I went live and I've done a post and I've done some stories. I'm sorry, that is probably the reason why you're not converting. Not only that your strategy for visibility is not being consistent, your messaging isn't very clear. But the truth is, you're not promoting it enough and you're not creating the conversion event. What I want you to do, and I'll talk a little bit more about the conversion event, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of your buyer and think for a moment, how do I convert? How do I make my purchase decisions when it comes to products similar to ones that I am offering to my clients? Is it through an ad? Is it through a podcast? Is it through a workshop? Is it through a sales call? How would I convert if I was my own client? Now think about how often do you create opportunities like that for your audience to convert? And if you're not, then you need to start thinking about those conversion events. And conversion events is simply where the person is making the final decision to part with their money to invest in your product or service. This could be a launch, could be, again, could be any of those things. Things like sales call, a launch, a webinar series, an email, an ad, a social media post, or anything. As long as it would convert the audience to make a decision to buy from you, right? So put yourself in the client's shoes and think about how would you convert, right? Sometimes we expect conversion of like several £1,000s or dollars to be done via social media post. In most cases, it's not quite possible unless you have super highly engaged and loyal customers or clients and audience already who can't wait for your offers. But in most cases, it's not. So it is really about having that consistency and really being clear about what you're offering and knowing how you're going to position and communicate and deliver those offers in order for them to convert. Now, we covered quite a lot today. We talked about visibility, why it doesn't work, why spreading yourself doesn't work. We talked about clarity and finding your niche and getting really clear about your offers. And we talked about monetization. Now, this isn't necessarily it when it comes to strategy. There are many other aspects to strategy than just this, right? More to monetization, more to visibility, and other aspects of having a successful business. But I think in my eyes, having clarity, visibility, and monetization strategy gives you a really good foundation to start with. So if I was you, I would really think about what is my game plan? What is my strategy? If you feel like, hey, I am really shying away from building my strategy, I don't know how to bring it all together, what I want you to do is send me a message and put a word game plan. And I want to offer you maybe a 30 minutes discovery session to talk about your business and how we can help you monetize your offerings and services. And look, you may decide that you want to work with me at that stage, and you may decide that isn't for you. But I hope that in those 30 minutes, I can give you some valuable advice to support you in any of those directions, whether it's getting clear on your offers or your messaging, getting a little bit clearer on how to become more visible to the right audience, or just have monetization strategy. Maybe there are places where you're currently going wrong and it's just not resulting in any clients, any results. Or perhaps you're already being successful in your business and you want to have another pair of eyes. And I love working with businesses when they already have something that is working for them, when they have a proven model, but they want to scale it. They want to take it to the next level and they want to make it even more successful. And we can get to do real deep dive into your business. And right now I'm doing a 6 weeks accelerated program for one-on-one work with me. These isn't going to last because I'm only taking on 4 clients every year to work with me. And this is going to be 6 weeks one-on-one coaching and consulting program. The cost of that is £5,000 right now. And if you want to jump in, you can send me a message or an email at Raimonda@womenthrivemedia.com. And I'd love to support you. I think it could be a game changer right now. And the reason why I do 6 weeks, because I think it's really accelerated time in which we can get really clear on your strategy, create some action points. And I also offer 1 month follow-on support. So if you are starting to implement some parts into your business and you're not sure, you can always reach out to me as well. So if you wanted to get in touch with me, it's called a Success Sprint, 6 weeks accelerated program for women to work on your business, on your strategy, visibility, monetization. And I hope that would really support you in your business. So I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to reach out anytime. Let me know if this was supportive for you, if you had some aha moments. I know this was a really short and sweet podcast, but I hope it delivered value and maybe gave you some reminders in how to be more strategic in your business, in your visibility, in your messaging, and as well as be more strategic around your monetization. Because for me, I want you to be more successful in your business. I know times are difficult right now and somewhat uncertain as well. And I think more than ever right now, we do need to have a strategy in place in order for us to succeed. So I hope this is going to support you in your journey. Now, look out for further podcast episodes. I'm going to be recording more podcasts around visibility, marketing, public speaking, and just supporting your strategy when it comes to becoming more successful in business. So look out for future episodes. Our episodes releasing on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. And it was a pleasure to be here and support you. My name is Raimonda Jan, and I am your host at Women Thrive Podcast. I look forward to seeing you on another episode. Take care for now. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to Women Thrive Podcast. If you found today's episode empowering and inspiring, be sure to subscribe and follow us. Better yet, leave a review and share it with others. We're committed to bringing you more stories that will empower and inspire you on your own journey. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep pursuing your dreams.